Welcome to Today in Hip Hop, episode number 33. I'm your host, Noah Jones. Got a fantastic show for you today. I got some stuff to talk about. I got some things going on. We got Kanye going crazy on the Drink Champs interview. We got Big Sean replying to some of Kanye's antics on the Drink Champs Drink Champs interview. We got your boy Fetty Wap. You remember Fetty Wap? Oh, yeah. Trap Queen. All that, Fetty Wap, The one who got a gang of kids. He's wrapped up into some crazy controversy. Big drug situation for him. Because he hasn't been making music in a long time. And we also got Offset, ladies and gentlemen. Of the Migos, Offset didn't return a Bentley. I am your host, Noah Jones. This is the video version that you're watching right now. The audio version of the Today in Hip Hop podcast is available on Spreaker, YouTube, and Spotify. The exclusive video version is only available to the subscribers at NoahJonesNews.com. And I'd like to thank Private Road Clothing today for sponsoring us. So, let us get into this, ladies and gentlemen. What should we talk about first? Let's talk about Fetty Wap. Let's talk about Fetty Wap. Now, Fetty Wap had a lot of bangers. He had a lot of hit records. But this kind of reinforces that a lot of these rap artists aren't really making any money. He's had probably at least 4 huge records, ladies and gentlemen. 4 huge records. Now, he ran off and had a bunch of kids, which also was going to dip into your pockets because these baby mamas be brutal, ladies and gentlemen. They will drain you for every dollar that you have. These baby mamas are brutal. So look, let me talk about what's going on. Now, Fetty Wap, he's allegedly wrapped up in a drug ring. The drug ring, basically the government came in and seized, matter of fact, let me just read it. All right, check it out. Legal documents claim investigators discovered $1.5 million in cash, 16 kilos of cocaine, 2 kilos of heroin, fentanyl pills, handguns, and a large arsenal of ammunition during its investigation into Fetty Wap and 5 others. Now, this all went down during the Rolling Loud set. Okay? The Trap Queen rapper was arrested Thursday night shortly before his Rolling Loud set in New York. While it was initially reported that Fetty Wap was arrested on federal drug charges, new details outline the alleged drug operation in which controlled substances were obtained on the West Coast and distributed across Long Island and New Jersey. So basically they was buying the stuff from the West Coast and then moving it from the West Coast to New Jersey and New York. So that's how they were getting the stuff across. According to an indictment, Fetty Wap, whose real name is Willie Maxwell, Kavanaugh Wiggins, Brian Sullivan, brothers Robert and Anthony Leonardi, and New Jersey Correctional Officer Anthony Sinche are all accused of distributing at least 100 kilos of cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we all know that fentanyl has been very, 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 very popular lately because a lot of people have been overdosing on it. I remember Lil Peep, I think, overdosed on fentanyl. I think Mac Miller had a fentanyl overdose. It's big right now to where these celebrities and other people, they just ODing on fentanyl. So the fact that that's part of the stuff that you got snatched up from, that you're distributing the fentanyl, that's not a good look. They're giving people football numbers for this drug. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. All right, so it says, as alleged, the defendants transported, distributed, and sold more than 100 kilograms, 100 keys, big weight, big money, 100 kilograms of the deadly and addictive drugs, including heroin and fentanyl, on Long Island, deliberately distributing to the opioid epidemic that is devastating our communities and taking too many lives, said the United States Attorney Breon Peace. Law enforcement claims the group received the drugs on the West Coast and used UPS vehicles with secret compartments to smuggle them east. This is like some big major movie shit, ladies and gentlemen. This is like some legit movie shit. Hollowed out compartments, secret fucking spots to hide the drugs, all that, driving across straight state to state. Crazy. It says all 6 men have been charged with conspiring to distribute and possess controlled substances. Fetty and 4 out of the other 5 suspects are also charged with using firearms in connection with drug trafficking. The group faces life in prison if convicted. Now, got an update for you. It says the FBI has released multiple photos of the drugs and money seized during the investigation in the Fetty Wap's alleged drug ring. Now, here's the thing. He may be involved in it, but do we know that he is the ringleader? You see what I'm saying? So when they say things like his alleged drug ring, he may just be a worker. Granted, he's the most popular one because he's a rapper, but he may just be a worker. He may not. It may not be his ring. He may just be a fucking worker. You know what I mean? So it says they released some photos of the drugs and the money seized, and he's 30 years old, and the allegations that he and 5 others distributed at least 100 kilos. That's insane, man. So he was recently released on a $500,000 bond, and all 6 men have been charged, man. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where it goes. But the bigger question is, what's going on with these artists? Like if you really take a deep dive into it, it's all smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen. You know how Instagram is like the hub for people fronting on their lifestyle? Instagram is the hub for people that are fronting on their lifestyle. The rap game is very similar. It's the fake it till you make it. It's the you lie about things to look bigger than you are. A lot of these artists are broke. They got bad contracts because they didn't get signed at a time where they had buzz or when they had leverage or anything of that nature. You know, these guys got signed, and all of a sudden, with the money that the record labels put behind the songs, these songs allegedly popped off and made them celebrities, made them stars. So they signed bullshit contracts right out the gate because the record label was like, look, us signing you is a gamble. So they signed these artists, they put them out, they strike gold with the artists by these artists blowing up and doing a whole bunch of shit, making a whole bunch of money. But these artists are stuck in these whack-ass deals, these whack-ass contracts, so where they don't really make a lot of money. Now, what I need to understand is, why is it that after the first big single that really blows up, these artists don't go back in and try to renegotiate? That would be the smart thing to do. If you got a hot record out that's blowing up crazy, before you release your next record, go back in and negotiate and say, yo, I'm going to need more bread because I'm crazy hot right now. The next song may take off just as much or more. So why is it that this guy Fetty Wap releases 4 or 5 records, 4 or 5 songs, and the motherfuckers blow up? But yet he doesn't have enough money to where he doesn't have to get involved in some shit like this. The bigger picture is, these artists are not who they say they are. They make music about the streets, and a lot of these artists, they're not from the streets. So what do? They make music as if they're part of the street life culture. And then when it slows down, they have to emulate that to keep their image alive, to keep everything going in the same direction. Because once people find out that you're a fraud, your career is basically over, ladies and gentlemen. Once they find out you're a fraud, your career is over. So these guys have to maintain this image in order to sell records and in order to maintain this lifestyle instead of just being themselves. Something should have told this guy, look, this is not a good look. Especially for me. I done had 4 or 5 hit singles. The game is waiting for me to come out with more music. The game is waiting. The game is waiting on my comeback. And then the next time you're talking about this guy, he's facing life in prison. So instead of us talking about this guy for his music, we're talking about him because he's about to spend life in prison. I don't understand. This is the most stupidest thing. Because there's so many ways. Like, here's the thing. Artists spend a lot of their time just trying to break ground to be known enough to where they don't have to introduce themselves, where people automatically know who they are. And then you have an artist like Fetty Wap, who's super successful, who should easily have ways to monetize his success by either recording, doing features, doing walkthroughs, doing interviews, talking about his life. Like with the power of the internet and YouTube, you can pretty much film your own movie, film your own documentary. You can put it out. You can tell your story. You can do a lot of things to generate revenue, especially if you're already popular enough to where people know who you are without you having to introduce yourself. See, the hardest part is getting people to identify with who you are. Once you break ground and people know you, the possibilities are endless. It just depends on your work ethic, whether or not you're willing to grind for it or work for it or whatever the case may be. Now, some of these people, they're not. They're not willing to work for it. And sometimes, you never know, these people get in the game just for the bitches, just for the accolades, just for the money, just for the recognition. They don't get into this shit to try to be the best artist that they could be. You know what I mean? They don't get into it and say, look, I'm going to be the biggest artist of all time. So once they get their little things satisfied, they get the bitches that they want, they get a couple dollars in their pocket, you know what I mean? They get people thinking that they making so much money that they decide to fall off, fall back, take a breather, take a rest. We're not in the culture no more where you can take 2-3 years off. That's the old method. The old method, you come out with an album every 2-3 years. Now you got to come out with something every other month. Because we're in a microwave era where people want to hear you. So when you're an artist as popular as Fetty Wap, I don't understand why he would have to resort to this type of shit. And here's another thing. When the shit hits the fan and these people get caught, they don't talk about why they were in the position that they were in. They don't come out and do an interview and say, yo, my record deal was fucked up. I made a mistake and had all these fucking kids. I was drowning in debt. The stress level was crazy. I felt suicidal. I felt like killing myself. This was my last option in order to get this shit off the ground. This was my last shot at breaking even. But here's the thing. With surveillance, the way they can track you nowadays, we're not at a time where shit moves undetected. And then you also got the hater factor. One person's getting more money than the other person. The person is jealous, and what's he do? He hates on the whole crew and brings the whole crew down. Because he's not making the kind of money that he feels like he should make. So he throws everybody else under the rug. You know what I mean? That's another factor, the hate factor. People don't even think about the hate factor. So I wish this guy luck. Like I said, he did some stupid shit. He did some stupid shit, and I don't feel bad because he did some stupid shit. I don't wish jail or death on nobody. But by the same token, if you're making these dumbass decisions, and you got kids out there and mouths to feed and people that look up to you and people that aspire to be like you, and you make these kind of mistakes, I don't feel bad for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about your boy Offset. Now, according to reports, your boy Offset is snatching fucking Bentleys and not bringing them back, allegedly. According to reports, Offset's on the hook for almost $1 million. A milli, ladies and gentlemen. He is on the hook for about $1 million. After the storied artist never returned a Bentley he rented in Los Angeles. The Migos staple reportedly rented a Bentley Bentayga from Platinum Motorsports, a luxury car rental spot, and paid $600 per day eventually negotiating to return the car around late July. So it's been a long time. When the 4th of July hit, Offset reportedly missed a payment, which caused Platinum to reach out. Upon hitting the artist about the vehicle, Offset told the company he didn't have the car anymore. As a result of the random disappearance of the Bentley Bentayga, Platinum Motorsports filed a police report estimating that they lost revenue of up to $100,000 since then. The lawsuit was filed by the company and it was defaulted on November 3rd, and a judge signed off on the suit saying that Offset has to pay $950,000 for the missing Bentley. So let's dive into this. First off, your Offset, right? From what we understand, we see your videos. We see you flashing the big jewelry. Didn't you and Cardi B swap $300,000 Lamborghinis or something crazy like that? Didn't y'all swap these big ass fucking, these big car purchases? Why in the fuck are you renting a Bentley? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Why the fuck are you renting a Bentley? Why don't you just buy the Bentley since you got so much bread? Why are you renting the shit? I don't understand that. Why the fuck are you going to be renting it? So here's the thing. This shit happened in July. So if he would have never got caught, everybody who saw him in the Bentley would have thought, yo, that nigga Offset got a Bentley. I seen the Bentayga I got there. He flossing in the shit, but he's renting it, paying $600 a day. So it's not his car, first and foremost. More of the smoke and mirrors, just to keep up the brand recognition, the image, And now it cost this nigga $1 million. Now, we all know that the Bentley Bentayga is not $1 million car. Doesn't cost $1 million. That's Bugatti territory. You know what I'm saying? So he's renting this Bentley, and then all of a sudden it magically disappears. And nobody knows where the fucking Bentley is. He misses a $600 payment. And the car company's like, yo, where the fuck is the bread at? Oh, I don't know what happened to the car. I don't know. Mama! I don't know what happened to the car. Skirt. Somebody took that fucking vehicle. That's what happened to the shit. Or something. Or he kept it and he's trying not to return it. So still, that motherfucking Bentley ain't worth $1 million. So now you cost yourself $1 million when you should have just went out and bought the shit in the first fucking place. Or just be low key. See, here's another thing. What artists don't understand is there's people that are worth way more money than you, than me, that drive regular fucking cars. See, these guys, they buy these expensive cars and they put themselves in debt because, all right, let me run it back to you. Have you ever owned an expensive car? Have you ever owned a luxury car? I've owned 3 in my day. I had an expensive Cadillac. I've had a BMW on 22s, which was the X5. I've had a Camaro. These motherfuckers are expensive to fix because they deteriorate as soon as they drive off the lot. They break down, etc., etc. Now, paying to fix all these fucking cars just to look good in them when they do the same thing that every other car does, which is get you from point A to point B, is fucking stupid. See, once I had these cars and I realized how stupid it was to have to maintain them, knowing I could only drive one of these 3 at a time. I had these 3 cars at the same time. You can only drive one of them. Can't drive all 3 at the same time. So you look like a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? So what I realized is I don't need these expensive ass luxury cars if all I'm doing is going back and forth to work. There's nobody at work that is important enough for me to be trying to impress them in the first fucking place. Because if you're making a certain amount of money, chances are all the niggas at your job is making damn near the same amount of money. So you look even more like a retard. Like, yo, this nigga's in these luxury cars knowing that we don't make but X amount of dollars a year. So you look like an idiot. But you had to actually go through that to really understand what that's all about. And then you can sit back and say, you know what, that makes good fucking sense. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Especially if you're super popular, you're not going to be home any fucking way. You're going to be doing interviews. You're going to be going on tour. You're going to be doing studio sessions. You're going to be locked in. You're not going to have the need to drive all these fancy fucking cars. So all you're doing is wasting a lot of money. A lot of money. Money that you should be putting towards investing and growing your business and growing your brand so that way you don't have to work as much. You know what I mean? These artists don't think about what happens after the music. After the music, you got to be able to sustain your lifestyle. If you haven't bought any corporations or bought any side businesses to float you after your music cools off, because it will cool off, you're going to be in a bad position. Look at people like the Migos. Look, they may be hot. And even if they hot for 30 years, you still got to split that shit amongst all your group members. So you're taking a cut right out the gate anyway. So think about that shit. These guys, they don't put nothing in place for after the music. You know what I'm saying? They spend most of their time trying to get out of that slave contract that they're not thinking beyond what they can do when they get out. You know, and remember, a lot of these artists, they just luck up. They never plan to get in the game and say, yo, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to use this rap shit as a stepping stone to get to a whole nother plateau. I'm going to use this rap shit to get me to another location, to get into movies, to get into contracting, to get into being an owner of this restaurant or the owner of this clothing company. A lot of these people don't even think like that. They just get lucky and they happen to fucking pop off. You know what I'm saying? So now he got to pay $1 million on this fucking car that's not even worth $1 million, you know, because he never returned the shit to the company. Fucking crazy. Now your boy Kanye, let's talk about your boy Kanye. Kanye spazzed the fuck out. Now here's the thing. I watched the interview. I thought it was very interesting. There was a lot of times. See, here's the thing about Kanye. People think Kanye is a genius, right? I think Kanye is just a conceited motherfucker. I don't see him doing anything out of the norm than anybody else with power and popularity could do, not would do, because people do things differently, could do in his position. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says a lot of arrogant shit. Like, for example, he said that signing Big Sean was the worst thing that he had ever done. Said it was one of the worst decisions he ever made. Now, why do you say that about a guy who's been nothing but loyal and put out so many hit records under your label, which made you grow as a brand? Now, from what I understand, Big Sean, when he signed his record deal, he signed for pennies on the dollar. He signed for like $5,000 or something crazy, something super low was his record deal. And he went on to have platinum songs, platinum albums, the whole 9 yards, which, with his slave deal, you know, was making money for Kanye. So what Kanye does is, he likes to sprinkle a little bit of intelligence amongst a lot of bullshit and a lot of madness. If you listen to his interviews, he goes off on a tangent so much to where people, you know, forget what the fuck they were initially talking about. That's his way of not answering these questions directly. You ask Kanye a question, he'll say some shit, and then he'll be off to a whole nother, he'll take that shit to some next level crazy shit. And some people will be like, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Like he'll sprinkle some smart nigga shit in there with a lot of lunacy. And people call that genius because he's all over the place with his mind. He's just all over the place. He's everywhere. Everywhere. He seems to be a person that cannot focus. focus. He jumps all over the place with the thoughts and everything else. So Big Sean actually replied to when Kanye said that was one of the worst decisions he ever made. Now, during his interview, Kanye claimed that Big Sean and John Legend are sellouts for siding with the Democratic Party during his run in the 2020 presidential election. Big Sean responded writing on Twitter, "The Dems? No, I didn't. I didn't get used by anybody, endorse anyone publicly at all, because I'm not political." This is Big Sean talking. He said, "That's what's hilarious. None of it is true, and he doesn't even know what he's talking about. I'm rolling." That's what Big Sean said about Kanye. Now, it says fans were speculating about what really led to Kanye not riding with Big Sean, and one Twitter user claimed that Kanye owes Big Sean $3 million. Now, in a since deleted tweet, Big Sean responded, "Not 3, more like 6. You know what I'm saying? Now, Charlemagne the God spoke on Big Sean's alleged contract with Kanye last October after Kanye tweeted that he was giving back the 50% shares he owns of his artist masters. Now, here's the thing. How Kanye conducts his business, that's beyond me. All I know is when you got your hands in so many pots and you got so many things on your table, you can't focus on them all at once. That's why they say, jack of all trades, master of none. Because you're all over the place with everything, but you're not getting anything completed. And the things you are getting completed are going to be subpar because you're not focusing on that shit the right way. You're not giving it your undivided attention. You're spreading yourself too thin, as they say. Spreading yourself too thin. Now, Charlemagne responded to the tweet on the Breakfast Club saying, "The restraint that Big Sean shows to Kanye West is remarkable. It lets me know that he really is healed and is a healed individual." He says, "Kanye, and I hope one day Big Sean will tell his story. Just know Kanye West owes Big Sean a whole lot of money. And he's got Big Sean in a very terrible contract to be out here screaming about giving folks their masters back and all types of other things." Remember, Kanye switched to his whole Jesus thing where he's a Christian man and he's promoting being a good Christian or whatever the case may be. But the stuff that he was saying on Drink Champs, him drinking and smoking, completely contradicts everything that he supposedly, allegedly represents. But we all know that anyway. We know that anyway. We can tell when somebody's false flagging or doing a whole bunch of falseness. You know what I mean? What I believe Kanye was trying to reinvent himself because nobody was talking about him for his music. So once somebody stops with the music and they stop talking about you, people jump into the antics. And they start doing a bunch of antics to get people talking. Kind of like how 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine was, where, it's more antics over music. So that's what was going on with Kanye. He started doing a whole bunch of antics, and nobody was feeling Jesus is king like that. You know what I mean? He's just in a weird space doing a lot of weird things. So, if you listen to how he conducts himself during this interview, it definitely doesn't seem like he's left all of those things behind. You put a little lick in somebody and the veil comes down, ladies and gentlemen. The veil comes down. And you can kind of see who a person really is behind the scenes. And you get a little glimpse of that. I recommend everybody go watch the Drink Champs interview with Kanye. Shout out to Nori. The veil comes down. And you can get a brief glimpse of how I believe Kanye is behind the scenes. Ultra arrogant, not giving a fuck, thinking he's untouchable, saying whatever he wants to say. You know what I'm saying? He said things like, "Oh, y'all should have killed me when I said George Bush don't like black people." You know what I mean? Like, on one hand, he wants to be this super revolutionary. And then on the other hand, he wants to be, the Christian that walks on water. Then on the other hand, he wants to be the biggest, most polarizing person in the world. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm I'm Walt Disney. You know. Now, some people are special. Steve Jobs was special. Walt Disney was special. You know what I mean? Elon Musk is fucking special. Kanye to me is just delusional, bro. He's just fucking delusional. Now, was he talented? Absolutely. Extremely talented. He definitely has the ability to get shit done and to bring the right people together, etc., etc. You know. But I would not relate him or put him on the same pedestal as a Walt Disney, a Elon Musk. Some of these people revolutionize things. And when they die, they're going to leave things behind that could have only been brought through by them. You know what I mean? The iPhone, revolutionary. Disneyland, Disney World, all of those ideas, revolutionary. Elon Musk with Tesla and SpaceX and the Neuralink, where he's trying to be able to cure diseases and hook things up directly to your brain, like downloading information like in the Matrix, how they downloaded fucking combat and shit right into your brain. Elon Musk is on that type of shit. You know what I mean? Self-driving cars, all the shit that we talked about as kids that we wanted to do, he is putting that shit in position. We talked about the flying cars and all that. Elon Musk is the guy that actually can do that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, he's pure genius. Kanye got some good ideas. You know, I'm not going to take that away from him. But some of the shit that he does and says just comes off as fucking crazy. So, but that ain't me. That ain't me. But anyway, thank you very much for checking out this episode of Today in Hip Hop. Make sure you tell a friend. Trying to get the likes up, subscribe. Trying to reach a certain goal. Trying to reach 1,000 likes, man. I don't have 1,000 subscribers. Trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure you help a brother out. Give me the HBO special. Help a brother out. Love y'all. Talk to y'all later. It's your boy Noah Jones. Peace.